Hey, how you doing? It's Martin Lopez from the Curiosity Theory, and believe it or not, today is day 12 of my 31-day challenge where I'm diving into my book, The Curiosity Theory. I gotta make sure, because it's like reversed on the camera. So the Curiosity Theory, and we're diving into the program that we have, that I've created, called the Curiosity Theory for Sales. And so we're talking right now about curiously investigating and how it works and how it affects conversations and actually people's actions, how people are drawn into action, how we can support people in doing the actions that they want to do and getting clear about those actions. So the whole idea is this is an iceberg. If you've seen, this is an iceberg, and this is a guy that's under the water, under the surface of what's going on with people, curiously investigating, looking to see what's going on with people as we're in conversation with them. So there's conversations that we have. For instance, right now I'm having a conversation with you if you're watching, and then inside, below whatever the conversation we're having, you're having things happen. I'm having stuff happen. That is the observations, feelings, and needs that we're talking about. So we talked about observations yesterday. If you would please go back and watch that after this one. You can watch it before. Go back and watch it, and then come back and then watch this one. It'll make a little bit more sense. So curiously investigating is what we're talking about, and specifically feelings. So we talked about observations yesterday, and we just distinguished facts and meanings in observations. And today we are going to talk about identifying and expressing feelings. That's the second part of curiously investigating. So even if the only feelings, and I'll read this from my book, even if the only feelings that we are aware of are yum and yuck, it still lets us know whether our needs are being met or not. So even if all we know is yum and yuck, it lets us know if our needs are being met or not. So I'm a guy, and guys don't really express a lot of feelings, right? Marshall Rosenberg says something that's really profound. I'll read you from his book, Nonviolent Communication, that talks about feelings and how we express them or how we don't express them. So I could say it's from a guy's perspective, but if you're a girl and you're watching this, think about this from your perspective, please. Our repertoire of words for calling people names is often larger than our vocabulary of words to clearly describe our emotional state. So what he's saying is that we as human beings are better at accusing and coming up with all these different ways to express to people what they've done wrong, say bad words to them, point out things that aren't positive, and say a lot of stuff, versus owning what that thing has done to us and how we feel about that situation. So I could say, well, you did that wrong. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know what you were thinking, why you did that and why you said that to that person. And what, we have so many things. You meant to do that. We have so many ways of expressing how we feel emotionally, right? And we use metaphors, and we use stories, and we use all this energy to express that. We have more of that than we have the ability, or not the ability, but more of that than we have of expressing ourselves. So the curiosity theory, what we say is, if we can just start with yum and yuck, and a lot of people that I coach, men, mostly men, is that what we use is yum or yuck to identify the feeling that you're having as a result of something that the observation, what you've observed, and what the fact is, and what you make it mean. That's why you want to go back to watch the video. So oftentimes, when I'm in a situation and someone is telling me, "Listen, they're tied up. They don't know how to express themselves," I'll ask them, "So does it feel yum or does it feel yuck?" And they'll say, "Well, it feels yuck." I got it. So it's about connecting with those feelings. See, connecting with the feelings that other people have gives us access to connecting. Well, it gives us access to connecting with them. And if it's our clients often don't get heard. People don't get heard. So when we can identify a feeling that someone's experiencing, that gives us an instant connection. We have instant connection with those clients, with our family, with our friends. That's really powerful. The bottom line is, feelings is like a roadmap to what works for us and what doesn't work for us. When things don't work for us, we feel yuck. We don't feel great. We may feel upset, we may feel annoyed, we may feel frustrated or angry. But at the bottom line, if all we can identify is yuck, that's a good place to start. when things are working for us, when life is moving in the direction we want it to move, when things are right for us, we feel yum. We're expressing happiness and joy and satisfaction and delight and all those emotions that we're feeling. Now, why are emotions so important? Why is it important to be able to distinguish and identify emotions? Let me give you an example. So when I'm done with this video, I'm going to go for a walk. I've been walking. I got my Fitbit and I've been walking every night. Last night I did 17,000 steps, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm going to go walking. So I'm excited about going walking. So I asked Yvette, my wife, just a few minutes ago, I said, how do you feel about me walking? And she says, I feel good about it. So there's two different people living in the same household, and I feel excited and she feels good. Now, this is the thing, and I've noticed this for myself and for other people. When we express our feelings, for instance, mine is excitement. I'm excited about it, right? And when she says good, I'm like, I'm judging it. I'm saying, wow, good. Good. Why do you only feel good? Why don't you feel excited? And so what we find is that people don't necessarily express the same feelings, and it's not good or bad, but yet that is what causes us to get into arguments. It's what causes us to have conflict. It causes us to separate. And in relationships with clients, with customers, with family members, with all those, we're expressing our feelings, and oftentimes people are getting those feelings, right? They're hearing those feelings, and then what we're doing is we're making those feelings mean something. So if I say I'm excited and Yvette says I feel good, well, I'm making good feel something. See how that works? If I'm talking to okay, I'm gonna give you a really good example. So I'm in the mortgage business, you know, and I closed a loan the other day with a client. So in my company, we send out these surveys, right? And all my surveys, like seriously, for like the last 6 or 7 years, they're all like 9s and 10s. Every once in a while, I'll get an 8. So I did a loan for a friend of mine, and it's a past client. He's come back to me twice, and what did he say? Viviana, this is my kind of video. Thanks, Viviana, I appreciate it, and thank you for and happy you're doing this. Thank you, appreciate that. So I get the survey back, and I get a 7. He rates me as a 7. And I'll tell you something, he had a tough transaction, not on my part, but on the sale part. He had to sell his condo, and he had to do all this stuff, and it kind of fell out of escrow like 2 or 3 times. He was trying to buy this property. I went in and contacted the listing agent on the other property, helped negotiate it, helped keep that, keep that going. And when I received my survey, it's a 7. I'm like, dude, like what's 7? So let's say his name's Josh. So I called him up the other day. I said, hey, Josh, it's Martine. How you doing? He goes, yeah, doing good. Is it okay? Everything okay? And I go, yeah, I just have a question for you. So you got this survey and you filled it out, and I really appreciate that. And I'm committed to being the best loan officer I can be. And you gave me a 7, and I've never gotten a 7. He goes, 7? That's great. That's like a 10 for me. I don't give anybody a 10. I've never given anybody a 10. I've never given anybody a 9 or an 8. A 7 for you, Martine, means you did a great job. So I read 7. The fact was I got a 7, and I made it mean something. And this is the thing. I had an emotional reaction to that, which was yuck. Once I was able to separate the meaning and find out what it meant for Josh, I was able to then switch it over to a yum. You see how that works? So curiously investigating, let's go back to curiously investigating. Curiously investigating conversations. So I was having a conversation in my head about the 7, right? My action may have been, I'm never going to call the guy back. The guy's a jerk. I mean, the guy gave me a 7. Everybody gives me 9s and 10s. You know, this guy's an idiot. I took care of him. Like, I could go into like big stories about that, right? Which are what happens out of meetings. Because I observed the 7, I made it mean something, and my feelings were yuck. Does that make sense? So by curiously investigating, by going beneath the surface and investigating, like the little diver right here, going and investigating what that was, I was able to talk to Josh. So what I did is I took a neutral opinion, a neutral position in curiously investigating, and then I was able to find out what was going on. So the action that I took, so then this would happen. So the action that came out of that was he was actually standing next to somebody, and he said, yeah, this is the guy that I was telling you about, handed the guy the phone. I'm now going to help somebody else buy a house doing the mortgage. Amazing. So curiously investigating, what we talk about in the 10-80-10 rule, by curiously investigating, it takes us out of what we call our winning formula and into investigating into what we don't know that we don't know. And that gives us access to winning bigger things, getting connected with people, and having us expand our life and our results. So thank you for watching. Please like and share. If you like this video, please share it with your friends. Please comment. And tomorrow night, we're going to talk about needs. So we're going to tap into needs tomorrow night. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thanks a lot. Take care.